What's going on, everyone? We're back for another Tips from the Tip series. This week we're going to talk about spin and how we can use it to improve your game. Everyone loves to put a little backspin maybe onto the green, maybe roll one back into the hole. Let's go over all the different aspects of how spin can improve your game. We're going to start off by going to East Lake, and we're going to the first tee, and here we are. A nice long par 4 uphill. East Lake known for being a very difficult course, but the first question that you guys are wondering is, how do you use spin? Well, similar to loft, you are going to press on your controller the L1 or left bumper button and hold it. You will notice in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, you have two things that are highlighted. You have this circle here, which we went over last week, which is loft, and then you have here, which is spin. Depending on how much up or down you go on this, it is going to add or decrease the amount of spin added to the shot. It also is going to, the more spin you add, or modify I should say, is going to make your swing plane and tempo a little bit smaller. As you can see, as I go up and down, right in the middle it's going to be the maximum swing plane and tempo forgiveness. As you go to modify, this also takes place for loft as well, which we didn't touch base on last week. But the important part of spin, so this doesn't come into play just on the approach shots. Maybe you want a backspin, that's what a lot of people think of, or the old Tiger Woods games where you can spin it midair. Well, spinning it midair is completely unrealistic, and this is a simulation style game. So, what spin can do off the tee, let's zoom in here, as I am on the default shot right now. If I add some backspin, it is actually going to carry a little bit further. Now this applies for just about all clubs. It's going to increase that carry distance, and the reason being is because it is getting some extra trajectory and rotations in the air with the additional spin. Now as you go down the your club set, it'll eventually start to lose yardage towards the end, and the reason for this is it is going so high up in the air, it is actually losing distance. And then also, when you finally land, it's going to want to backspin on these wedge situations. Now we're on the second tee, and this is going to come far more into play. So, on an approach shot, you can always add or remove spin, and it will change your carry, which we're looking at now, but more importantly, it's going to change what happens after the ball lands. Okay, so I have a 3-iron here, and say I want to try to hit it about 196 yards. This may roll out a little bit too much. By me adding some backspin, yes, it's going to add carry. Maybe I'll touch it back a smidge, but what it's also going to do is it's going to reduce that rollout, so when it finally does land, it's not going to have as drastic of a bounce forward. See how that rollout is minimal, maybe 8 to 10 yards? Now let's go back to that tee. Let's declare unplayable real quick. Let's hit a full 3-iron. And we did this with no spin. Let's see how many yards this goes. Boy, that's right at it too. So it landed 197. Let's carry an 11, potentially even 12 yards. By putting that backspin, it's going to reduce that potential rollout. On a longer iron, it's not going to be as impactful, but it's still going to make a big difference. Alright, so now let's look at a different shot type, a flop shot. And we haven't progressed quite to the most effective spin shot, which is the pitch shot, but we do have the flop shot. Say we come into this circumstance, right? We have a short side pin. We have barely any sort of green to work with. We have 3 squares in front of this flag, so we got about 3.5, 4 yards in front of this flag. So we can't really aim in front of that flag without it being too risky. Let's put all the backspin in on the sand wedge flop. This might be a smidge long, but let's see what happens here. Watch that grab and sit on a dime right there. Not going too far. If I did that before, so let's do that one more time. Declare unplayable. Let's go back.
right. This is your fourth
Let's do a
shot.
sandwich flop, same exact shot. Ready? Oh, I hit it slow, but it's gonna roll out a bit more. It was maybe only a yard or two or a couple feet there, but being able to stop it before you go over a ridge sometimes or getting closer to the hole is gonna lead to a lot simpler putts where you can get some nice tap-ins like this. Nice. All right, now let's take a look at a splash shot, which is mainly used for bunkers, but a lot of people do use it around the greens. Here we are about 19 yards from the hole. We can put less spin on it and it'll have more rollout, or we can put a lot of backspin on it and it'll grab once again. I think this club may be a little bit short, but let's watch what happens when we put full backspin on this type of shot. Once again, similar to that flop, it rolls and then just grabs. And let's try it one more time without it, or actually let's go the inverse and put no spin in it.
Okay, green side sand. Let's see what you have.
Reduce the spin. Touch fast. But see how look how much that rolls out. You get an extra 3-4 yards sometimes. And if you're facing a ridge where there's a red slope, the bead's moving away from you, or you need to protect it from going over something, you're going to save a lot of strokes by adding and removing spin out of the sand. Alright, let's look at one more regular shot before we get into pitches. So, here we are about 81 yards out from the hole, okay? We have this nice little backstop here. Now, we have a lot of green to work with in front of this flag, so I probably wouldn't recommend going with this approach. But say say there was a bunker right here that you needed to clear, and similar to the last shot, we only had a couple yards to work with in front of the green. Well, maybe I wanted to play a lot of spin on a sand wedge and get it way back to the hole and ride this ridge down. One thing to note, if I put a lot of backspin on this, it's going to grab and go back a few squares. If I start to add loft in doing this as well, it's going to be exponential as to how much spin. It's going to go up in the air, it's going to land shorter, and it's going to grab faster. So let's watch this. It's going to carry about 90 yards. Watch what happens after it lands. Look at that zip. Right back at the flag, too. So, hey, you can really grab it back and put a ton of spin on it if you have the right club, right distance, right situation. Okay, we're about to go into a pitch shot. Before we do, as I say every video, thank you very much for watching up to this point. If you do enjoy the video, feel free to click that like button down below. It's really going to help a ton. And maybe even if you want to check out more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. I do also stream my live competitive rounds every Tuesday night on Twitch at 6:30 Eastern Time. If that interests you as well, feel free to click that follow button. That's also going to help quite a bit. Now let's get into a pitch shot. Alright, here we are back on the third hole, and this time we're going to try to do this with a pitch shot. So remember last time with the flop shot, it kind of just stopped and checked up on a dime, right? What's going to happen when we put a little action on a 50-yard pitch shot? Let's put all the backspin we have, and let's put a little bit of loft too. By adding loft, you know what? Let's crank it up. Let's put all the loft we have. The more loft you add, the more spin it's going to get. And let's take a look. Touch slow, but still going to spin. Look at all this action. Keep in mind a few things as you're experimenting with spin. Nice. This is not only going to be controlled by the wind, which we have off in this demonstration video. If you're hitting into a headwind, it's going to help that backspin. If you're hitting into a tailwind, it's going to reduce it. But also keep in mind the firmness of the greens. I did dial up the firmness here, so it is fast and firm, which a lot of societies do play on. So the firmer it is, the faster the green is, the more spin it will take backwards when it does start to check up. Comment below if you have any questions, or maybe send in some of your videos. Next week, join us when we talk about tempo.